I posted a behind the scenes picture recently of one of my video shoots where I was in a very compact space and had to create an interview rig for that space. And from that post, that behind the scenes picture, a lot of you had questions about this setup. So I wanted to quick do a rebuild of this setup and show you some of the things that I used and why I use them. If you're new here, my name is Caleb and I do freelance video with the Panasonic GH5. If you want to learn more about making videos with your GH5, make sure you hit that subscribe button. First, real quick, let's talk about a couple of the elements that were not pictured there. And I'm not going to go in depth on these things because they weren't in that image. First of all, for the lighting, I was using the Aperture 120D with the big dome and the grid, and I just had that on the C-stand. And then for the backlight hair light, I was just using a small aperture panel just to kind of give that, you know, separation from background. And then I also had a big reflector kind of reflecting on the shadow side of the face because I wanted a little bit more of a corporate look to it. You just kind of want to bring those shadows up a little bit more so it's not super moody. And then for the microphone that I was using, and I had the microphone on a C-stand with a boom arm, and I was actually using this microphone that I'm using in this shot right now is the MKE600 by Sennheiser. And it's a great interview microphone, and you know, you just put it like right up top out of the shot and it picks up great audio. So those are a couple things that were not pictured in that image, but I just kind of wanted to bring up real quick, not spend a lot of time on those things, but bring that up just to let you know what lighting and what microphone that I was using. And then for the A cam, right here, I'm using the GH5, obviously, and then the Sigma 18-35 with the 0.71 Metabone speed booster. So on the A-cam, I like using this Sigma 18-35 because I can shoot just a little bit wider, and obviously it gives a great image. And I usually keep it open at 1.3 because that's going to give some good separation from the background, some good depth of field. I shoot at 400 ISO and I adjust my exposure with the variable ND on the front. Now I also have the Tiffin Black Pro Mist at an 1/8 on the front of this lens as well. And what that's going to do is just kind of provide some of that highlight roll off on those interview faces. It kind of just gives a little bit softer look on the skin, especially when you're shooting with the Sigma, which is a super sharp lens. Another piece of gear I had on this A-cam rig right here is the Small Rig Mini Follow Focus, and I'm not going to put it on right now because it's going to block my face. It'll be like right here, and then you won't be able to see my face in this little compact area that I have right now. But anyway, I had it on for the interview, and that way you can kind of adjust focus kind of off to the side where you're not having to, you know, that just makes things a little bit easier when you have that follow focus on there. So let's go back and touch on the audio one more time. Like I said, I was using the Sennheiser MKE600, but I was recording the audio externally into the Zoom H6. And here I have the Zoom H6, and I just have it attached to my tripod with a articulating arm by Small Rig, which just makes it nice and compact. So I can just set it up right here behind A-cam, and it just gives me a nice, you know, view of the audio so that I know that my audio levels are on at all times. And I was monitoring the audio with these Sony, you know, professional studio headphones, which I have on right now just in case I bump something, one of these stands. I know that I bump it and it's not super distracting. I can go back and re-record it. And I have a clear view of everything that's going on with my audio and A-cam right now. And a lot of people ask why I don't record directly into the GH5 with like the XLR1 adapter on top. Well, I really like the audio quality that I get out of the Zoom. So I've been sticking with the Zoom, and it's really easy to work with and sync in editing because of auto sync. But one thing I do as a backup, just in case, is I do take a line out from the H6 into the GH5. So I just take that line out, plug it in, it's just a 3.5 millimeter, and that way I have that ready to go just in case, you know, something goes wrong with the audio on the H6. But again, this is kind of blocking my face, so I'm going to take it off. Now, like I said, I knew I was going to be in a compact, kind of a tight area in this office, so I knew that I was not going to be able to set up a couple video tripods. So what I decided to do was use one tripod, which is the Manfrotto with the 502 head, and it's a fluid head, which you get a lot of motion with. But I knew I wasn't going to be able to set up another tripod. So what I decided to do was use this Hawk Lock articulating magic arm for my B-cam. So I was able to just attach the arm to the side of the GH5 cage and then put the quick release on the other cage. And in the image, I don't think I had my other GH5 cage, but normally I keep a cage on it and you could actually use some side threads on it as well. But you just mount the Hawk Lock quick release plate to the bottom of your B cam. Then one of the things that you can do is really make some, pinpoint adjustments on this B cam, kind of match it up level wise with where you're at on your A cam. You just tighten this knob and it tightens up, and then you have A and B. Now on the B cam for this particular shoot, I was using the Mitacon 25mm f.95. So that's going to give me a little bit tighter of a 50mm look on that B cam. And again, I adjust my exposure with the variable ND. And on the B cam, you usually try to match whatever aperture you have on A cam. You can go a little bit faster if you want a little bit more depth of field. But one of the things I like about this is if you're shooting 4K but delivering in 1080, this actually gives you 4 cut points, which sometimes can be incredibly helpful when somebody's not super comfortable on camera or whatever. It gives you 4 cut points that you can use when you deliver in 1080. And then on both cams, you want to make sure you have your white balance right. So you always set your white balance with either a gray card or a white piece of paper, whatever you use to get your white balance right. You want to make sure you do that with the lighting that you're going to use. So if you're not using overhead lights, if you're not using window lights, make sure you only have on the lights that you use and set your white balance with that. Then other than the lights and the microphone that I mentioned earlier that I didn't actually post in the community page, this was my setup, my compact GH5 interview setup that really worked well for that particular shoot. Now this might not work on everything. Sometimes you might want to have the B cam just a little bit wider out just to give a little bit different of an angle. But for the compact and tight space that I was in, this actually worked really well. So if you have any questions about this setup, this interview setup, A cam, B cam, GH5 setup, and I'll go ahead and put some links of some of this equipment that I'm using down in the description, and there are affiliate links, and if you use those links, those totally help support this channel, which I really appreciate. But if you have time, it'd be awesome if you stuck around, maybe watch one of these videos that's popping up on your screen right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.